Our contest routine has no sense because we're all so different. Yeah, we have a plan to keep us on track, but inside our fact, we schedule in snacks. Because snacks are important.
So you want to enter a barbershop contest? What do you think? Shall I leave it to Marion? I think I should leave it to
You're
Marion.
missing a ukulele.
Yeah. We'll pretend.
My ukulele skills are lacking. Also, I look naked, but I'm not. So, as part of this contest-themed session, we decided to contest theme ourselves, and we're wearing different contest dresses that Fortuity have won. So, top 3 prizes available to 3 people who correctly guess not only what year these dresses are all from, which Fortuity have won in contest, but how we placed at international the year we wore them. Sarah, do you want to tell us what the prizes are?
So the top prize will be able to choose one of our designer tees, and also we'll win one of our CDs, and also a McFly CD.
Because why not?
And then the second and third place prizes will be the CDs. So, to get the top spot, you've got to be the fastest with the answers.
Let's talk about barbershop contests, and other than just fancy dresses, which are obviously a key highlight of barbershop contests for women and perhaps some men, don't know. So we talked in a different session about the importance of communicating about your goals, and this is obviously very important when it comes to contests. So why are you doing the contest? That's the first question you want to be kind of thinking about as a quartet, and sort of discussing what it each means to you as individuals and what you each want to get out of it. And hopefully that will then inform your approach to the whole contest. And when you have coaching, what kind of songs you want to learn. You know, are you just doing it to get some on stage performance, in which case you maybe aren't too worried about, whether the repertoire is, too challenging for you as a group, or, whether it's not strictly contestable, or you might want to, win a medal, or, improve on a previous score, etc., in which case you want to start taking those judges' comments and the judging handbook, if you are that way inclined, super seriously, and sorting up and learning all the ways to wanna be the very best. Like, no, okay, I'm just gonna stop.
It's a very musical session. I'm loving it.
Yeah, well, we wanted to try and incorporate some singing. Whatever your goals are, you're probably always gonna want to enjoy the experience and feel like you've done your best performance. And there are lots of ways of going about that. Obviously, rehearsal is very important. Making sure you're comfortable with the songs. What was that, Barry?
Oh, rehearsing's important.
That's where we think
what a nugget of gold.
For some people, I know that they are so nervous that actually their main goal is to just get through, without passing out, and that sort of thing. So that there's quite a lot, and there's that end of the scale, and there's the other end of the scale where people just love to perform and they just want to get up on the stage and do their very best. So there's such a spectrum that you can go from, and I think you just need to recognize what you individually need to get out of doing it. Contest is all about improving, because you go into contest in order to get a score that tells you what level you're at so that you can move forward, but in the whole scheme of things, you necessarily can only do that if you can get over those fears, if you're one of the people that can't go into contest without real fear, and also embracing your enjoyment. If you're going to go out and just perform, there's still an element of being genuine with that performance. So there's quite a spectrum, I think, for people.
Everyone thinks that competing's about winning medals, but actually a lot of the time it makes you better and it makes you more experienced, and putting yourself in that position means that you learn to deal with like anxieties and stuff like that, and it just makes you a better performer generally.
When we went into contests last year, we had done so many more performances, and the two kind of fed off each other. So we started to enjoy our performances way more because we were doing them more. We felt more comfortable, which meant we enjoyed it. And then that helped us with the contest. But equally, if we weren't driving towards the contest, we probably wouldn't have pushed ourselves to do so many sing-outs that we've really enjoyed, and getting to meet people as well as performing for them.
Yeah, we can talk about, you know, visualization and imagining that you're on stage, but nothing really compares to actually doing it. So sing-outs are so important to kind of simulate what it's like on the day when you have an audience.
So I'm just going to talk a little bit about visualization on the sort of contest journey and preparing. And we've gone through quite a lot of different ways of preparing for contest, and some visualizations that we've had have literally been the contest day, having a recorded message that we listen to that actually tells us exactly what we're going to do. We get up, we look in the mirror, we have our breakfast, we do our makeup, and it goes from the very beginning of the day right the way through up to the contest experience, and then takes you onto the stage. And that was certainly really helpful, I think, our very first time at International. But when you've obviously got an experience to draw from, you then need to start looking for other things to help you with your experience and to help you get a different and better experience each time. So whichever contest you're going into, things that might have worked one year not necessarily work the second year, or you might need something else on top. And I think for me this year, one of the things that we did, well, I say this year, last year, one of the things that we did that worked really well, certainly for me, was the visualization and affirmations that we were doing in the lead up. So I think, Soph, you read a book on Nicky, surprise, recommended this book. I think it's called With Winning in Mind. I think she has a session on the psychology of performance, so she'll probably tell you a bit more on that. But it does talk about essentially the value of rehearsing mentally as well as physically. And so, yeah, visualization is part of this, and it's all about putting yourself, trying to imagine exactly what it feels like to be on stage, but also rehearsing the sort of positive mindset. So an example is when you're rehearsing, if you do something that you don't like, rather than saying, oh, I shouldn't do that, I shouldn't go flat on that note or whatever, you should say, oh, I should stay sharp, or I should maintain the pitch. And just thinking about what you should do rather than what you shouldn't do. And similarly, affirmations are a way of rehearsing how you want to be. So you say, oh, I am a confident singer who always sings with resonance, for example, and you say that so that it becomes ingrained and you repeat it. But yeah, Sarah, you may want to talk a bit more about affirmations. Well, I think the thing that probably we all found really hard with the positive affirmation side of things is firstly coming up with what it is you want to affirm. So you have to start already with the positive talk. And I think individually we all find that somewhat difficult. We are typically British and we don't like to big ourselves up. So it's really hard to find those things that you actually want to say, yes, I want to be that. And then to actually tell yourself that you are that, because that's the way affirmations work, is you have to actually tell yourself that you already are what it is you want to achieve in order to get the brain locked in to actually being that. So if it is, you know, that you want to be a confident singer, you always want to sing with resonance, you want to be a top 10 singer, you have to start saying those things to yourself, and it's actually quite scary. And I think we all experienced that in different ways, and sometimes it's easier in the lead up to a contest than it is, you know, when you're actually in the moment, and when you're actually there. So you have to roll with the punches, and I think Verian's going to talk a little bit more about how that worked for us, you know, having got to New Orleans, for example, and how we then dealt with it from there.
Yeah, so I mean, New Orleans was a crazy time for us just generally, but like Sarah said, the affirmations was something that we had planned to do. We'd had all these things and we were saying them as normal, and then it came when we actually made the 10 and we were at the day of finals. I reacted completely differently to how I imagined I would have done, because usually I'm pretty, I am emotional, but I'm pretty calm throughout the day. It's only just before we go on stage I generally get like a butterfly of nerves. But I was so incredibly overwhelmed. I couldn't speak for a lot of the day, and the girls kept coming up to me going, "Are you all right? Do you need a hug?" And I'm just like, no, don't do that. And I just was very emotional. And the thing is, at the time I was like, I don't understand why I'm like this, because I remember you guys doing the affirmations and I'm just like, I couldn't get through one affirmation without bawling my eyes out. And I thought at the time, I was like, I don't understand why this is happening. But since I've thought about it, the only thing I can think of is the fact that I've been singing Barbershop since I was 11. Oh my God, don't get emotional.
Very is to cry.
I've been, get a grip. Because, okay, just wait a minute.
Pause.
Oh,
If I was there, I'd pinch you, but I can't. So.
yeah, that's what I need. Because I've been singing Barbershop since I was 11, the idea of, I think I've said it before, the idea of singing in a quartet was a really hard thing for me. And I never, oh my goodness, I never imagined I'd do it. And then the idea of ever getting to the finals was just like a dream. Oh my goodness, seriously, get a grip in life. It was something that I didn't think would ever happen. And I think being there and knowing that what we were preparing for, oh my God, I'm not this emotional. What is my problem? Knowing what we were preparing for, I was just, it was like that 11-year-old was like, you've done it. It's happened. You're going to be in the oh my God. I think the reason we do all this preparation and we have these routines to build up to contests is to help that if that happens. Like, if you prepare for something to the nth degree, then if you do react completely differently to how you think you're going to react, then at least you've done something to help that. And obviously I had
break your arm, for example.
Yeah, or you do that. And then you just don't care because you're jacked up on painkillers. So that happened too.
And I guess this is why we bang on about visualization. And, you know, when we say visualization, it's not just the affirmations and stuff. Like Sarah was saying, you know, the girls previously had a recording that would sort of lead us through the visualization, i.e. this is what's going to happen on the day. So it is all the minutiae and going right down to actually walking onto the stage and seeing the big lights and seeing the audience and seeing the judges and thinking, oh, I'm going to think about my first note, or I'm going to think about the emotional context of the song, and rehearsing all of that mental process so that no matter what happens, even if you're completely emotionally overwhelmed, when it gets to the actual bit that you've mentally rehearsed, it's just automatic. Just like what we sing will be so well rehearsed that it just comes automatically.
Yeah.
Even if you're
you can trust that, then you can
exactly.
Trust, if you've done that preparation, you can trust that you can let your emotions you know, you can ride that sort of wave of emotion, and know that it doesn't matter what happens, that you've done that preparation, so it will come out okay. And I think each of us know that about each other now as well.
Yeah.
Which you only really learn when you go into these contests. And it's amazing how much you learn about each other's coping mechanisms. And sometimes the things that you learn about other people's coping mechanisms can actually help you. So, you know, things that you might not have thought of trying before, actually you find really useful if you know, pick up on what other people are feeling and how they're responding.
Yeah, definitely.
And there's one particular, this is kind of a tangent, but I guess every quartet will have their own special little routines that they do. And one thing, there's a couple of things that come to mind that we often do just before we go on stage. And the first one is we basically stroke each other and touch each other's butts.
It's the bum pinch.
To me, it's a really important part of like, just before we go on stage.
One of the biggest ones that we do that we've forgotten to mention as well, we always make a playlist.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
We always make a playlist that we listen to, and it's not anything specific, is it? It's just songs that we like, that are upbeat and fun and that we can dance around to. And we always put the playlist on in the morning, while we're getting ready, while we're having breakfast, like literally any time we've got some downtime while we're not like warming up or whatever, or getting ready. We have it on when we're getting ready.
Yeah,
we'll have it on, and we have it on, and it's,
I think the one thing that really helped me on contest day, along with the bum squeezings and the playlist, is that we have a written routine, like a schedule almost, which we don't stick to it 100%, but it lets us know what's still to come and what we still have to think about. So we'll do the whole roughly wake up, shower in this time, have breakfast, and we plan in our snacks and we make sure that food's readily available so we don't have to plan in time to go and get it. And for me, like I have to have a routine in my head. Whether I stick to it or not is neither here nor there, but I have to have a routine in my head so I know where I'm going in the day. And over our various contests that we've done over the years, invariably we've always been on really early at international. So we've like had to get up at like 5 a.m. and our window has been like a 4 or 5 hour window to cram everything in. But then it was either semi-finals or finals in New Orleans, we had all day. And so if we're trying to do the same plan to a day where we had all day and trying to compare that to the times that we normally have 5 hours, it just wouldn't have worked, and it would have hit us at various different points in the day. So I think for me personally, it's really nice to have a written plan of, you've got an hour to go and have a nap, or you've got half an hour for Pepper to go and have a meltdown. So it's just it helps for me to have that in my mind.
Yeah, see that I don't know about you guys, but for me also, having Pepper there last year was such a welcome distraction. And I think because we'd never had that before, for one, it completely chilled Jem out. So if you want to just completely get over your nerves, just have a baby. That's what we do.
I don't know, 'cause one of the other things that had the same reaction was when you broke your elbow.
Yeah, that's true. Or break a bone.
Okay, I feel like I don't want to partake in either of those activities.
Yeah. This is kind of a tangent, but I think it might be relevant to some people. I always struggle with sleep before contests, but basically what I do at international is I always have drugs to help me sleep because of the time difference and because of jet lag. Pardon?
Prescription drugs.
Yeah, prescription drugs, obviously.
I just thought it'd be safe to clarify that.
Yeah. Probably for the best. Yeah, don't do drugs apart from prescription drugs that you have a prescription for.
And don't do them excessively.
Yes. Anyway, I recommend that because I like sleeping and I like not waking up every hour on the hour. And I know if you have a baby, you're kind of going against that, but that is my personal 5 cents on sleep before contest.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that's part of a contest routine, although we don't really welcome it, contest dreams.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of a contest routine.
Well,
I don't know about you, but I get them religiously before contest.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of feel though that the affirmations that we do are like having a contest dream that you've written and always has a great outcome.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so if anything, I think doing the affirmations before contest actually really helps my contest dreams.
Yeah.
Rather than nightmares.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think obviously the affirmations things are so good, but just in case I do turn into an emotional blob again, I think we talked about it actually afterwards, having them like printed and put on the wall.
Yeah.
So like we have them and we
said
can
that
see
was something
them,
they do as well.
but I don't physically have to say the words in case I just turn into a blubbering wreck for whatever reason.
Yeah.
An important thing I think to note is that the way we prepare for contest has changed drastically over the years. And we always prepare the same way for regional as we do international. We treat both contests exactly the same. And for each contest that we have, although we've been doing this for about 8,000 years, each year we find something new that has worked for us the last year and we add it into our routine. So the routine that we have now has been refined.
All the contests that we've prepared for up until last year, we were always together the whole day, all 4 of us. Whereas because Soph was competing, she was at rehearsal and we were just like, well, that's how it is. We'll just continue as we are and we'll be chilled about it. And we kind of just took it in our stride rather than going, oh my God, this is not to plan. This is not what we normally do. But yeah, I think it's okay to let it relax a little. It's not gonna do anything. It'll be fine. It'll all be fine.
Everything is happening perfectly.
Exactly.